So, big tip for anyone that's doing DIY on their vehicle: buy a Haynes manual. So, we're going to the brakes, chapter for the brakes, braking system. We're trying to find the torque value of the rear nut. So, that should be in the front. That's drive shafts, braking system, torque wrench settings, disc retaining, here, rear hub nut on disc brakes should be torqued to 300 Newton meters or 221 foot-pounds. That's a lot. I'm also going to look at what they prescribe for the guides, the bracket, how much it should be torqued. Rear wheel cylinder retaining bolts, roll wheel bolts, rear brake caliper. Guide pin bolts are 30 Newton meters and 22 foot-pounds, and bracket bolts are 53 Newton meters and 39 foot-pounds. Just for your information. And like I said last time, I did use some tread sealant or tread lock on the bracket. But I can't seem to find whether or not you should. I'll look this up later. I'll add it in the description. Because time is limited. So, 300 Newton meters. Like I said, that's a whole lot. So, our big nut socket, the breaker bar. And let's torque this down until it goes no more. Make sure you don't slip. That should be enough. Next up, stake the nut. I'm not going to use the chisel for this to follow the contours of the opening here. I just use the flat part of the hammer and just knock it out, knock it down. Shiny new brake disc installed. So we just staked our nut. Next up is our dust cover. Just take the cover, push it into place. Take your hammer and gently tap it until it's completely seated. Next up is the bracket. Make sure to clean the mating surfaces again. If you want to clean the entire bracket, maybe paint it. But just make sure to clean the mating surfaces and the location for the shims. These grooves and everything on the both sides. Inside the bracket are 2 guide pins with dust covers. You can just, or should be able to, pull these out. And as you can see, there is grease, some white grease on it. This is special grease for these pins to slide properly. If you are into car maintenance and you spend a lot of time on YouTube, you probably already know this, but do check out Eric the Car Guy's channel. He does this sort of things daily, and one of the last videos I saw was that he mentioned not to use regular grease on these, as it might eat away at the dust cover. So you should use special grease for this. To my belief, you can also use the copper paste. It's what I will be using. So take the pin out. Bear in mind there are 2 different pins in there. One has 2 flat ends and the other one has splines. So take notice of which one goes where, or do them one at a time. Take some paper towel, wipe it clean. Inspect the general condition, that there's no scoring on them. You can also pull the dust cover out, give it a little clean. You might also clean the insides. Just take the copper paste. And squirt some in the hole. Put the dust cover over the pin all the way down and reinsert the pin into the hole. And then do the other side. As you can see, this one is splined. I think it's the upper one with the dampener on. Again, clean off the pin with the paper towel. Inspect it for any damage. It's okay. Take off the dust cover, clean it up as well. A dab of copper paste. On with the dust cover, and in goes the pin. So next up is our 2 bolts that are used to hold the bracket. Like I said, I did some thread seal on them before. I'm gonna try and clean this up a little bit. Here's my brush. Just brush it off. There could be some places where it's still a bit hard and raised, so take a screwdriver, just pry it out a little. Like I said, you can use it again. I don't know if you have to. At this time I'm not going to. I'm just gonna clean them up and put some copper grease on them. That's one. That's 2. So take some of the copper grease and put it in the hole here. And another bit. For the other hole. Install the shims now, as it's easier with the bracket off than on. Make sure you install them in the correct position. So there's a little groove in here, and there's a tab on the upper part. That should be seated into the groove. And do all 4 of them. You might need to readjust some of the tabs a little in order to get it to fit. So that's the bracket. We slide it into position. And you make sure both the bolts are finger tight at first, then you should snug them up, and when they're both snug and the bracket is positioned the way it should be, then you can go ahead and torque them down to the values I mentioned earlier. tightened them down pretty snug at the moment. Next we'll be pushing back our piston from the brake caliper. So I open up my toolbox. I'm gonna try and show you guys real quick. And you need to select the correct size. And if I'm not mistaken, it's this one, I think, that does fit. So there's two tabs on the cylinders, as you might be able to see. Sorry, I need to take you off the stand. Okay, so you can see the tabs, and these little pins should line up with those tabs, and if so, it should fit, and it does. So next up is our rewinding tool, and we will also be needing this little backing plate. This will get clamped in the caliper, and you will tighten the piston back with this. So there's also two pins on the tool that fit into the adapter. I'm gonna see if I can get this on with one hand. Probably not. So insert it, make sure the pins line up, then rotate the tool back by hand so it gets jammed a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to put you back on my tripod. And I'm gonna see if I can rewind the caliper. So like I said, one was clockwise, the other is counterclockwise. I don't remember which is this. So that's pretty tight, so I need to rotate the other way, apparently. And you should start to see the piston retracting into the caliper. I'm just going to take the other tool real quick because I think I have the wrong one. Try this again. Make sure you line up the pins. And like I said, this one should be turning in the other direction. Okay, so with the other tool, this backing plate was coming loose again, so this one should keep it snug if I rotate it counterclockwise. And I can see the piston moving in. You need quite a lot of turns to do this. There are more expensive tools to do the same thing, They work with air pressure. But like I said, it's more expensive to use one of those. So, and this one does the job just as good. Do try to make sure the rubber boot does not get tangled up or anything. The other side still had a pretty good shape to it because I replaced it not too long ago, as I had a faulty caliper on that side. This one is a little bit older, might need to change it. You could get a rebuild kit for these. You will feel it when it's fully retracted. It won't go any further, like this. Release the tool. And there you have it. One piston fully retracted. Now you could also use the wire brush again, if I find it. And tidy up your caliper a little bit. Take off all the old dust, brake dust. Once you get that done, we're ready to install, almost. First we're going to degrease our rotor, because in the factory they put something on there to inhibit it from rusting, but it's greasy, so you won't have much stopping power with that on. That's why we have the brake cleaner. And take a clean paper towel. Give it a good spray. Most of it should come off on its own. And then just give it a quick wipe. Also do the upper side. Then we're moving to the back side. So give it a wipe. And that should have taken care of most of it. Next up is our pads. Make sure you don't put your greasy hands on the friction material. What you would want to do to the pads is the following. Take some of the copper grease or copper paste and apply a little bit on the edges here, and on the mating surface with the caliper. This is to prevent it from squeaking, the brakes from squeaking. So just barely enough, not too much. And on the surface a little bit. And then you can go ahead and insert the pad into the shims. Yep, looks good. The same thing to the other one. Onto the tabs. Just enough. And a bit on the back side. You don't need to do as much on the front one, because the only thing that's contacting is the two forks on the caliper, so this and this. So to insert the pad, you got these bits on the shim. Insert the pad at a little bit of an angle and press against the shims and push it into place. Next up is the caliper, which should easily slide over to the pads, again with the handbrake cable. It should slide into place. And that's on. Install the lower bolt, finger tight. And install the upper bolt. But I'm going to open this one up and see if I can replace the bolt on this piece, as it's damaged pretty badly. So I just examined the dampener. Apparently you can remove this dust cover, and in there is a Torx socket. It's a 30. Put in a little Allen key, and as I stripped the bolt, I'm going to use the pliers again. Just hold on tight and unscrew it. Apparently I never knew this before. I never had any of these bolts with any of my pad kits. As you can see, it comes out rather easily. Throw this one away. try to find the new ones over here. Brand new, and thread it into position. Don't ask me what this thing does. I don't know. I have no clue about it. It should be a 13. It's a snug fit again. Sorry for that. And tighten it down. Put the dust cover back on, and you're good to go. So we just replaced the bolt on the dampener, or whatever it is. The lower one is hand tight. Also do the upper one hand tight. Then take your open-ended spanner and tighten these down. For the ones of you that have never changed their brakes before, don't forget to actuate your brake pedal a couple of times, because the piston still needs to come out again until it makes contact with the pads. So don't just drive off from the first time. And you might also want to undo the brake nipple a little bit and bleed the brakes. You ideally want to be with 2 persons to do this. So I'm not gonna bother doing it right now because I'm on my own. I need my girlfriend to be home for this. So I might do them on a later date. And that's that. Also a little side note on the 207 owners. We do get lots of trouble with our bolts for the wheels getting stuck. Best solution for this is use some of this copper paste. So put some on your finger and put it inside the bolt holes. So as soon as you will tighten the bolts, the copper paste will get spread along the thread and will prevent the bolt from seizing up. So you could just, as you can see, I always do this. So clean the old ones a little bit. And just thread them in to spread the copper grease. So far for changing the brake discs and brake pads. You could go ahead and put your wheel back on. But I was planning on doing some little more work to this car, so I'm not going to at the moment.